All right, boys, a couple days ago, I recorded a video about SEO being dead and the importance of your website and your business showing up in AI search. And one of the viewers had mentioned, hey, I wish you had gone into more detail on this. So in this video, I'm going to A, just kind of reestablish why this is so important, and B, I'm going to give you a dozen different ways that you can start optimizing your site so that you can be found and recommended by programs like Chat GPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Grok. If you want to get your site shown up in these search engines, this video is for you. This video is for you. And I say search engines because that is kind of where the future of the web is going. So a couple quick stats here, which might blow your mind. So AI overviews on Google search are up to 57%. From 25% last year. What that means is that when you type in, how to rank for search on Chat GPT, if you go to Google and do that, a year ago, only 25% of searches would give you an AI overview. Now 57% of searches, and I've seen stats as high as 70% in B2B spaces. So long story short, AI overviews are huge. It's a massive opportunity. Massive opportunity. In fact, there's some studies that show that there's going to be a 20 to 40% drop in organic search by 2026. Guys, that's like 6 months. Within 6 months, people aren't going to be getting search. People are not using the web the same way. And quite frankly, just a quick shout out to all the marketers and SEO owners out there. Guys, don't sell what worked 10 years ago or 5 years ago or even 1 year ago. It's not about that. And this is why I'm so excited about what we're doing here, is that the opportunities are tremendous. There are so many businesses that are going to become obsolete. There's so many new problems to solve. There has never been an opportunity like this. And in fact, yesterday I mentioned a podcast that I listened to with the head of AI over at Tesla, Andre Karpathy, and he said that we're in the third wave of software right now. I'm not going to go into all that. You can check out that video. I'll put a link above. But regardless, this is a really important time in history. And okay, before I get into actually all the nuts and bolts here, we'll get to that in a minute, all the exact specific ways that you can start to rank. By the way, if you don't want to watch the video, I'll put a bunch of notes down in the description below, so you can just check those out, copy and paste them, whatever. Do you. I want you to win, baby. I want you to freaking win. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, I want to give a shout out to ST Edge 2019, Saint Edge 2019, because in the video I posted a couple days ago about SEO, this dude left the most comprehensive comment I have ever seen on a YouTube video. And I made a lot of YouTube videos. This was and it was so good, in fact, that I actually pinned it. I pinned it because that's what I want. I want people leaving like really, listen, I'm doing this because I'm living AI all day, every day, and I'm looking for neat problems and neat solutions, developing SaaS solutions and marketing problems. I'm just doing a lot of really cool stuff with AI, and I want to share it here, but I want to learn, baby. I'm hungry. This stuff is moving so fast, and if you're leaving a really good comment below, there's a chance I might pin it, because I had to pin his comment. And I'm just going to kind of summarize the thought here, which I think is which is a really important concept that most people don't understand. And because when we think of search, because this video is about search and the future of search, when I say the word internet search, you're thinking, okay, I go to Google, I type in a question, some websites come up, or maybe I get an AI overview, and then I can kind of click around to find the best link that solves my problem. Maybe I hire their company, blah, 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 blah. That is not the way the future is going to work. And this is what Saint Edge 2019 pointed out in the comments, which I pinned again, is that that's not how the future of search is going to work. The future of search is you are going to tell your AI agent to go out and solve a problem, like order me some Chinese food, we'll just say, or maybe find me a web developer who can optimize my website for search, okay? And what your AI agent is going to do is it's going to crawl the web, and it's going to start speaking to other companies' AI agents. So they're not going to necessarily be looking at websites. They're going to be looking to communicate with AI agents. So it's going to be robots talking to robots, is basically what's happening. And we'll get more into that as this kind of unfolds, because I think that's a really, really important thing that we're paying attention to and watching. So that is where the future is going. But for now, the way that the internet typically works is we're doing searches on Google, finding the best solutions, and going from there. But again, we want to make sure that we're ranking on Chat GPT, we're ranking in Perplexity, we're ranking in Gemini, we're ranking in all these search engines. We want, when someone types in a question into Chat GPT, that our website pops up and they do business with us. That's what this video is about. And we're going to go into a bunch of different ways. So the first thing that I want to point out, and y'all, this is super hot, super breaking, very important. Some of these ideas are going to be, by the way, some of these ideas are going to be a little bit old. You may have already been doing them. Great. Mazel tov. Love it. Some of these ideas you may have never heard before, and some of these are kind of revolutionary. And I'm going to start off with one that is, and some of these are actually very complicated. Some are very simple. The first one I'm going to start with is very simple. OpenAI, I'll put a link below. OpenAI now allows you to submit your website to the platform to be recommended. You heard that right. If you want your website to be included in search, you can now submit a form to OpenAI for a chance. And by the way, in 6 months, this might not be that big of a deal. But if you're first, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. If you're first, whoo, it's good to be first. It's good to be first. If you could go back to 2000 and you could buy up a bunch of domains, how sick would that be? If you could be the first one to figure out that writing blogs to drive traffic to affiliates could generate hundreds of thousands in cash, wouldn't that be great? That'd be freaking great. Now's that chance, guys. Now's that chance. So I'll put the link below. Go to OpenAI's site and make sure you submit your website so that you can pop up in search. This is low-hanging fruit. You could do it in five minutes. It is definitely worth it. All right, cool. So let's talk about AI for a minute, because AI is looking at intent. It's looking at intent. And what does that mean? Well, if someone goes into ChatGPT and says, how do I rank my website in search? I run a local carpentry business and I want to get more clients. It's gonna, maybe they're even looking at certain geographic, like that's one of the cool things about AI is it's so specific. So I'm a local carpenter working in Wesley Chapel, Florida, and I want to find customers who like chairs. Like, how can I optimize my website? Well, what ChatGPT is going to do is it's going to really understand the intent of what you want. By the way, there's a bunch of memories. I have another video on that, but it's going to look at your intent. So one of the things that you can do with your website is you can optimize your website for intent. So how-tos, FAQs, very good way of doing that. You want an FAQ page, how-to, you want a Q&A page, and again, very specific to the intent of that person, okay? I hope that makes sense. And again, the notes below might clarify a little bit more as far as like how you want to code and set up your website. There's, but again, more how-tos, more FAQs, more step-by-step, walk people through it, okay? Walk people through it. And again, the more specific you are, the better. One of the things that you can do if you're writing blogs is you can use AI to write tons of blogs so quickly. This is another SaaS product that I'm working on right now, is a product for realtors. I talked about this before. I'm using Replit. It's a software for realtors. You type in who you are, where you live, and then it will automatically create a bunch of blogs and podcasts for you and automatically post them. They'll be optimized. That's the mission. So you can just write tons of content. And again, the key here is highly specific. The more specific you are, the more clear your intent, and the problem that you're solving, the better your chance of showing up when someone types their problem into ChatGPT. Okay, so again, pretty simple. Let's talk about structured data, implementing structured data, schema into your website. So again, this gets a little bit complex, but for example, in your let's say you have a WordPress website and you've got a blog. There's going to be a little bit of code on the back end for your header. Well, if you can go into more detail in your header and fill it with more rich data, rich code in that header, context, name, author, type, price, description, all these details, it's going to give AI agents, it's going to give LLMs more context on exactly what's in your blog and in your article. So, again, this might be something that might take a little bit of time, but before I get into the next one, I just want to point out that there isn't necessarily one thing that's going to change everything for you, but there is an exponential return on doing all the little things right. And if anyone out there has read Atomic Habits by James Clear, you'll realize at the very beginning of that book opens up with that point that, hey, if I do all the little things right, we have exponential returns. So going in, make sure your schemas are on point, can definitely help index you on these large language model searches. So much richer code, implement structured data, and schema, okay? User intent. Now, this is not actually a new thing. Anyone who's been doing SEO is gonna realize that make sure you have the right keywords, that it's readable, that it's made for humans, it's clear. So at any rate, these things are not super difficult. You've probably already been doing them. Keep doing them. It's a good idea. Now, we've talked about some changes, like changes to code. If you weren't aware of keywords and stuff like that, you definitely want to make sure you have keywords and added all this stuff to your headers and added that sort of thing. But go back and update your old content. If you have a bunch of blogs, a bunch of articles, a bunch of pages on your website that haven't been updated for a while, go back, hire someone, whatever you got to do, go back and update your old sites and make sure that you update your publish dates. Okay, make sure that you're updating your publish dates because you want to make sure that you get re-indexed. AI is looking for what's new, what's hot, what's happening, and that's an easy way. Go in, update, republish, update your publish dates, and that'll give you an advantage. I talked about this a moment ago, but I'm going to just reestablish it because this is number 6 or 7 on my list. I don't know. I've got so many different ways that you can implement this. And by the way, if you really are wanting to win with AI, this is the time to smash subscribe. I appreciate that. But really what I appreciate is y'all winning. And by the way, if I miss something you disagree, type it in the comments below. If it's good, I will pin you. I will pin you if it's good, and it really helps me to reframe how I'm thinking about things. So write more with AI, okay? Write more with AI. Now, there was this myth that was going around for a little while that if you're using AI to write articles, that AI is going to be able to track and know that it's AI, it's not going to index you. I can tell you definitively that this is not true. This is not true, okay? This is not true. Now, keep in mind, you want to make sure that what you're writing is actually designed for humans to read and humans to absorb. So you don't want to be too mechanical. You might go in there and you say, let's say AI takes you 95% of the way, you take it the last 5%, that's cool. Making sure that you're programming your AI chatbot with the voice, your characteristics, the context, that sort of thing can help. But I can tell you definitively that the myth that AI written content will not rank you is not true. And I'll give you a perfect example. I was doing research for a project the other night, and I asked Chat GPT a question. I said, make sure you give me citations, make sure you give me references. And it did. And what I'd found when I started checking out all those links was many of the links took me to blogs that were written by AI. And you might say, Mark, how'd you know it was written AI? Because I'm not an idiot, okay? That's why. I knew it was written by AI. Frankly, if the content is valuable and it's useful to me, I don't care if a monkey wrote it. You know what I'm saying? The reality is, though, I could tell it was written by AI, and it was indexed on Chat GPT. So I can tell you definitively it works. So use AI to write a bunch of articles. Again, I'm working on some SaaS projects to help do that, to help initiate that. And again, this is why I'm so excited, guys. I'm not a coder. I like to build things, I like to create things, but I'm not a coder. You don't have to be a coder to create software now. You can create software at like a fraction of the cost. And right, most people don't know this yet. If you're watching this, you're in like the top 1%. And you're at a significant advantage now, okay? So anyway, that's interesting. Structured snippets. What's a snippet? That's the little like pop-up. It's like a preview of what the blog is going to be about. So if somebody goes to Google and they type in, how to make my grass green, they'll have like a little snippet underneath the blog. Like, well, the first thing you do is this. Featured snippets. That's definitely something you want to be doing on every blog article, every piece of content you put on there. Make sure it's concise. It has direct answers. Use headings, use lists, use tables, and make sure you're featuring them. Long story short, use featured snippets. Okay, make sure that your stuff is indexed. And kind of side note, if there are particular keywords and stuff like that you're using to help initiate things forward, make sure you're repeating that. There's different schools of thoughts on how important keywords are now or in the future, but generally speaking, I think keywords are going to help because again, it's if you can do 20 things 1% better, you have a magnification of effects. There's a an exponential return, okay? Use text fragment in links. So the text fragment is just a tiny bit of code that you add into your blog. Again, check the notes below. That'll give you the exact formatting, but put your text fragments in links, okay? Technical SEO for AI crawlers, okay? So you want to optimize your blogs and your SEO for AI crawlers. And you might be saying, Mark, what the hell does that mean? I don't know what that means. Make sure your website loads fast. So you're not using like super high resolution images in your, just as an example, or super complicated graphics, videos that take a long time to load up. You just want to be careful with that, right? So you want to make sure it loads fast. You want to make sure it's mobile first. You want to make sure that it's an HTTPS site, because those are more secure. Google likes them. Other platforms like them. HTTPS sites. So again, this is kind of classic SEO stuff that we're just kind of refreshing. Use AI optimization tools. SE ranking. It's an AI overview tracker. Use peek.ai, Peec.ai. Use Chat GPT to audit your site. Guys, at the very least, you should be copying and paste. If you get nothing from this video, get these two things, okay? First thing, make sure you go to that form that I mentioned below. It goes straight to OpenAI's website, and you can register your website. That helps. And B, the second thing, just copy and paste your web address into Chat GPT and say, hey, how is my site ranking? What can I do to rank it better for AI LLM search? Okay, just do that for me, please. Thank you. What else? Build for human authority. Build for authority. Now, authority and credibility is going to be one of the biggest, most important things moving forward. I really believe that. You know, I mentioned all those sites that were indexing on Chat GPT. A bunch of them were kind of like junk sites. You know, but they're at least posting now, which is good. But you want to build for authority. You want to make sure that your word is bond and what you're saying matters and all that stuff. But one of the ways that you can build authority, again, this is classic SEO, is building up backlinks from other trusted sites. So just as example, YouTube links back to your website, going to other, collaborating with other creators, other vendors, management companies. Like the more links you can get to your website, the better. You know, this is one of the reasons I got into podcasting, because I can have, I can run a podcast with someone. I can have someone on as a guest on my podcast and say, hey, just, you know, you agree to put a link on your website, on your newsletter, on your LinkedIn, etc., and it's gonna send traffic back to my website. So yeah, you just could try to get a bunch of backlinks from other sites, and you know, make sure that you're following Bedford's Law, which basically says be first. If you're not first, you're last. And again, we talked about this a little bit. I'm not going to go too much into it, but be first. Talk about new innovations. That's part of the, by the way, there are millions of searches for AI right now. Everyone wants to know about AI, but be first. Talk about the newest thing. It improves your chance of being found on these LLMs for search. Embeds, interactive content, anything that people can interact with on your site, shows engagement. It improves the length of time people spend on your site. This will also improve your authority. Again, good for SEO, good for LLMs. Keep up with new trends. One of the things that's becoming really big and frankly is I've talked about this at length in some past videos, is voice. Try to find ways to optimize your site for voice search. Again, you do all those other things. We aren't going to get too far into voice search today because, you know, frankly, I'm not as 100% comfortable with that. But regardless, if you're doing all these other things right, it's going to help you improve your site for voice search, because that is the future, guys. I mean, pretty soon everyone's going to have AI cameras, AI on their sunglasses. You're gonna have AI sunglasses. You're gonna have AI sunglasses. You're gonna be telling your sunglasses to do all this stuff for you. You're gonna be telling it to your agent to go to this and site and do this and this and this. It's gonna be a really wild future. I'm excited for that. But anyway, optimize for voice search. And then of course, key measure. How many, snippet appearances, AI overview visibility. How long are people spending on your page? What's the bounce rate? Use AI to analyze all this. And again, if you're, like I said before, go to Chat GPT, ask it to analyze. Those are some great ways. I hope you found this valuable. Again, like I said, I wanted to go into more detail, more specifics. I really like some of the overall trends that are happening in the AI world, and I really want to kind of be first. But you know, when this guy posted, hey, I wish you would have gone into more detail, I said, you know, I should have gone into more detail. So I hope this was valuable to you. If you want to really stay ahead of these trends, you definitely want to subscribe and hit up my newsletter at aiupdate.ai, aiupdate.ai. I hope it's valuable for you guys, because the world is changing really quick and we cannot afford to be sleeping on it. The cost of sleeping on these trends, guys, at least where I'm at, is tremendous. It could mean the loss of your job. It could easily mean the loss of your job. Your business could be overwhelmed, but I don't want to harp on the bad, because the bad is going to be really bad for hundreds of millions of people. But the good, the opportunities are going to be insane. And now is the time. This is like the modern day gold rush. I just see opportunity everywhere I look. And so that's what I would challenge you to do. Surf, don't swim. Find the opportunities, go to the typhoon and win. All right, I'll see you next video. Peace.